Hi, Tea Society. Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we are checking out Mushi-shi episode 25, which is getting into the last couple of episodes of at least this season. And it makes me very curious about what we're going to do with this series. Like, I get that it could just be very episodic and we don't really have I don't know, big ending to this whole story. I don't know if we're going to go back to some of the things that we've set up, like with Ginkgo and this like doctor friend that he has, or some of his kind of wandering tendencies, or like exactly what his ability set is. I know we got backstory for him already, but I don't know. It makes me curious what we're going to get for these last couple of episodes to close off at least this part of the story. In 3, 2, 1, go. We get an opener this time. Last time it was, they cut it for runtime. Which I get. The last story was a lot. This one is called Eye of Fortune, Eye of Misfortune, which does make me a little bit nervous about how we're including misfortune and all of that. Interesting to have eye, though, because Ginkgo, right? Like, he is the two kind of duality with the eyes. So maybe we're gonna get into some of that, because while it isn't necessarily misfortune that he brings because of his kind of more spiritual connection, it definitely causes him some issues, right? Like, part of the reason he can't settle anywhere is because Mushi will like flock to him and he's like, they'll nest around me, and that'll be bad for everybody. So wonder if this might be the last time I get this opener. We might get it in the next episode, but I don't know if they'll cut it for runtime or we'll get it once more for the nostalgia. Okay. Basic sensation. And a light. I was gonna say, do we have someone who can't see? I love the reflection of the irises, though. Or is it just like briefly we couldn't? Because Mushi. Kind of a miracle if it was like suddenly sight. Like that we're getting an instrument when we have like senses like sight, sound. I don't like the idea of anything being in my nose. I don't know, I feel like the fact that they like laughed and didn't take it seriously when it's like Mushi is probably not a great omen. We haven't seen her eyes yet. We being we being taken in. They're trying to be welcoming which is better than some of the people we've met in our travels. Is this the girl we met at the beginning? Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if he was retired. It's not looking, can't see the right things. I think he's immediately like, that's so cool. I like this dynamic of her being like a storyteller. How does one bury eyes? At least with the fathers of Mushi-shi, you'd have like some idea what's going on. Oh, is he trying to find like a way to help with her eyesight? I don't know how I feel about it. Just like give me an eyeball. I don't know, maybe you should just accept your child as she is. It's a thought. Ugh. Nope. Seems like a bad idea, my guy. I get being like research and exploring or whatever. But like you should be a little bit cautious about dealing with Mushi. Did it find you? I do like that it kind of looks like the lines in like an iris in like the light. It'd be very overwhelming to like suddenly be able to see clearly when you spent your whole life not being able to. I love the glassy like reflection in the eyes to be like what she's seeing. It'd be very overwhelming to like properly see people that have like important in your life too. Like you just didn't clearly know what they look like. I'm feeling that this is gonna go poorly because it's looking nice and optimistic. We have a lot of runtime left. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't even know how to describe what happened if you didn't have reference to sight to be like, what happened in your eye? And you're like, I don't know. Too good? Because you're not seeing like the way that we are, right? It's not through like reflections of light registering in your eye, right? It's like mushi bypassing it. You get kind of lost though. Like how do you stay in the present if you can see that far away? Yeah. How do you orient yourself to here if your sight can go that far? Peaceful darkness is wild to say too. Like go back to something you know. The only way to be present would be to like close our eyes. Oh, we're seeing the future. So you can see like not only through space, but also time. It's a lot of pressure to have on somebody that young. People are also gonna like be upset though. Like if you can't control someone's future, you can just tell them about it. Yeah. Yeah. If it always comes true, it's like even if you warn people, like do you want to know, right? If something bad's gonna happen? Yeah. How do you stay around someone when it's like you can literally see through me? It's not just like creepiness factor. It's like, do you want to know? Like, she just like casually tells you something about your future that's like terrible because she sees it, would you want to know? Can't even escape now. Like I said, she's not seeing through like light the way that we do, and it's all starting to like overlap. I don't know. Still seems like a lot. Like again, to be able to see multiple things all at once. And you'd know like that something happened. Ugh, that's terrible. It is nice that like she's kind of traveling around the way that like Mushi do, and she's like spreading the stories and stuff. Interesting too to have like with like Ginkgo's story where it was also like a parent through like an accident passing away and then needing to like travel after that. The one thing you can't know anything about. Oh. To also be able to see something like the future and just be like, it always comes true would also be kind of crazy. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. It wasn't even like a choice, right? Like she was just walking around the mountains and then suddenly this happened to her. Yeah, they have to happen. Ginkgo doesn't like to be told what to do, though. He's like, there's no other choice. And then Ginkgo's like, there's always another choice. Laughs in the face of destiny. He does it anyway. Interesting. His past is gone. So can she only know what they know, or is it like it's literally been blocked out because of what happened to him? Like, how do you enjoy it when there's so much else going on? Yeah. Yeah, to be able, again, to be able to see it and understand the weight of like, this is going to happen, regardless of how I try to change it or warn people. Interesting to say living in the darkness, remembering the light. Interesting too with the parallels with Ginkgo's experience, right? Of wandering in the dark. Whoa. Yeah, your eyes were all freaky. Yeah, it's evolving, growing stronger. Ooh, maybe. That's an interesting way to look at it. Like an egg. Or like bringing back the like cocoons from before. Beautiful sky artwork throughout this, though. How do you fight destiny, right? I love the way they're overlaying some of this, like how she's seeing the world. Ooh, that's wild. As someone who gets like weird vision things. Ooh, geez, I wasn't ready for that. Capturing them? Wasn't ready for the image of her eyes falling out. True. Tear ducts are not technically part of the actual eyeball. But it seems like she lived. So that's nice. Her next life and a fox instead. We can't see what happens next. No known treatment. I get that. Aw. Kind of hope that he does get to see her again. She seems like a very gentle soul. Did we like properly bury them though? Because it seems like we went back and I'm like, please tell me to not keep the things in the jar. Thank you. I find it so interesting whenever we get episodes that have to dig into like things where people have like a disability or something about their like physicality in the world, like how they experience things that is like not necessarily the norm, because I think it's so interesting to talk about those topics in a more nuanced lens. It's kind of like I was saying in other episodes of Mushi-shi. I'm like, I like that it's never that we're supposed to be fixing someone. It started out with Amaine, I think, but her father being like, I'm going to fix your eyes so you can see. And I'm like, immediately I'm like, or you could just accept her for who she is. She ended up the same as she was before, but with a lot of other things going on. So if she had just lived her life understanding that she was blind and getting to have beauty in its own way through that experience, would that have been better than the alternative? And even though she says there were happy moments, right? Like she got happiness from this moment, it was through the knowledge of saying, I would rather live in the darkness now with the memory of light than to live in a world where it's almost blinding in of itself, right? If everything is light, then you still can't see anything. And it got to that point where there were so many visions like overlapping with each other that she like, I can't properly see anything anyway because there's just too much there. And I think that's really interesting, and especially in these conversations of like people who have disabilities, I always appreciate stories that let that exist and don't try to treat it as something that needs to be fixed or have a magical solution. Even in the note that Ginkgo got from his friend, it was like no known cure, right? There's no way to fix this because it's not actually something that's supposed to be fixed. It's like finding a way of walking through the world with the way that you are. And maybe I just feel like a personal thing for that because I grew up with someone who's deaf. So anytime that a conversation comes up where people are like, we need to fix this problem, I'm like, deafness isn't a problem, right? Like, my brother is not broken because he's deaf. It's just that he experiences things differently. So I have a personal connection to the way that we tell those stories in a way that is respectful of letting it exist and letting it be. And I think that this is a really interesting one where it was, even though she got to experience what it was like to see the world, it came with its own price. It came with its own like overwhelm. It came with all these other things because she couldn't actually control it. And it wasn't like an actual cure, or it wasn't actually like the way that we see things. And at the end, she was like, I would rather not have this vision and no one else has it, so they don't have to go through the experience that I did. And I think that's an important part of this as well, is like her saying no one should have experienced that, to know what's going to happen and still not be able to do anything about it is such a weight to have, right? To be able to see someone's future, to be able to see how like their life could end, as some of the stories are, and no matter how much you warn them, destiny is going to happen, right? So isn't it better sometimes to not know, to not see, to live life with the way things are right in this moment in front of you? It's kind of like I was saying during the episode, how do you stay in the moment where you actually physically are if you can see way beyond where you are like physically, right? How do you stay right here if you can see so much? And then you start to see through like time. How do you stay present if you can see the past and the future as well? Like, all of time and space is too big for a person to see all of that simultaneously and be able to make sense of it. Sometimes you just need to live right here, right now. And sometimes that's better. You don't know what the future is going to bring, but that makes you more connected to what is right here, right now. So I think that has a certain beauty to it as well. Again, in conversations of experiencing the world differently from other people, is that sometimes you just have to find joy in what you have right here, right now, and not get caught up in everything else of what could have been or what was, or what people's expectations are of you as well. Really interesting to have a story that I think is closely connected to like Ginkgo's experience and how he walks through the world as we get to the end of this part of the series. But I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this playlist to go into my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so next time I post a Mushi-shi reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.